So we're almost at the end of the countdown of my top 10 favourite TV shows of all time. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 3 honourable mentions. These are 3 TV shows that I absolutely adore, but unfortunately didn't quite make it onto the full top 10 list. So I'm going to be breaking them down, talking about some of my favourite moments, favourite episodes, characters, favourite seasons of that television show, and a little bit on the show's diversity as well. So if that all sounds great to you, make sure you stick around. Let's go. So the first show I want to talk about is a show I speak quite a lot about on this channel, and that is Dear White People. So I only watched the show for the first time last year. There are currently 3 seasons available on Netflix, with a 4th on the other side of the pandemic on its way. And this show is fantastic at highlighting out the experience of black, mixed race and other ethnic minority students on campus at a university in the United States. It is a fictional setting based off of a film originally. I think I enjoy it so much because it is a very real view as to what the quote-unquote black experience is at the moment, especially under the current climate of things as well, how it's very much come out to the forefront. So really, it's a great show for anyone watching this video that want to learn more about the black experience, because you also get it through the point of view of multiple different characters as well, some who are black, some who are mixed race, and you even get to see things through the point of view of a white guy as well. So the dynamics of that show are really open and really vast, and in my opinion, very true to life. So I don't know that I necessarily have a favourite episode to this show, but I have 2 very key moments that I absolutely love. The first is in the first series when Reggie is confronted with the cops who pull a gun out on him. And the other favourite moment of mine comes in the second series, and it is a conversation between Samantha and Gabe that very much crunches everything down and is the culmination essentially of the first 2 seasons. I think what I love about these 2 seasons is that even though the situation around them is quite vast and epic in proportions of what this show is, it's done in a very nuanced and intimate way that really grabs you in with the characters involved, and at the end of it you sort of come out just needing to take a deep breath and sort of go on that journey with them of trying to assess what exactly has just happened and what has just been said. And they're incredible standout moments. And going on from that, I would say that Reggie is my favourite character in this show. After the ordeal he goes through in that first season, I really love what the actor Mark Richardson does with Reggie in those moments. I think he really does draw us into exactly what Reggie is going through, even though it's hard to quantify what Reggie is going through from the outside. And of course, the show's diversity is insane. You have characters of all kind of races and genders and sexualities, and you see this as it goes through the show as well. And it's one for me that just kind of wins on all barriers, really. The representation of people is good, as well as the diversity being good. This is why it's made it onto the honourable mentions of this list. So going on to show number 2, and it is The Walking Dead. I still have stuck with The Walking Dead even now. I know that for a lot of people that show finished for them around season 6 or 7. We're now on to season 9, and it still delivers something that I'm interested in and that I want to see. So in terms of favourite episode, I'd probably say that the episode that fully introduced Negan is still got a completely rate right all the way up there. And then even the episode where Rick leaves the show. I think both those episodes, especially in the most recent of seasons, are real standouts and really had me drawn in and tense, and it really did deliver on everything that I expected this show to do. That being said, I still think my favourite season is either season 2 or 3, so the season when they're on the farm or the season that introduces the governor. I think that they were the real heartbeat of the show, those 2 seasons. I think once we got through season 1, which was a really short season, only 6 episodes, but I think once we got into season 2 and 3, the show had really found its rhythm, and we were really getting the idea and the sense of what it means to just try to survive in this new world. My favourite character in The Walking Dead, I have to say, it's got to be Carol. I think she is absolutely brilliant, and I absolutely adore Melissa McBride. As an actor myself, I feel that she is quite an incredible inspiration as well, especially the way that she has developed Carol throughout the show as well. You know, being this sort of helpless wife to widower to mum to then losing her daughter as well, and now she's come out the other side and she's sort of the go-to person to sort a situation out. And she both amazes me and scares the living crap out of me. But she's always someone that you want around as well. And I think that is testament to Melissa McBride and how she just is Carol now. That is it. And then of course the show's diversity, which essentially speaks for itself. One thing is that kind of annoys me at times though, is that even though they have quite a lovely array of different people, it does always seem to me at times that the black guys still kind of die first, which is an interesting little trope that I spoke about in this video here, so maybe you could give that a watch to understand why I think that it kind of plays a little bit into The Walking Dead. Not overly, not as much as I hear that it did play into Fear the Walking Dead. I really was surprised when I read about that, but I don't know, I've not seen it, so let me know if you have watched Fear the Walking Dead and you kind of know what I'm going on about. But on the other side of that, it was really funny when sort of the most recent Black Lives Matter movement, or well, I say movement, protests began again in the United States and here in the UK, and then a lot of these companies coming out on social media as being behind Black Lives Matter, and The Walking Dead was one of those companies that did that. I say companies, the show Twitter pages were coming out saying that. And a lot of these people in the replies were saying, oh, you're virtue signaling, or they were saying, I've watched this show, I've stuck with it, and now you're standing behind this movement. And I'm like, if you guys have watched The Walking Dead this long and you love it that much, then surely you're okay with diversity and representation, and surely you are okay with this show that you love sticking behind this incredible movement. So it was an interesting one to see. I really, when I saw that, I was kind of like, I think I actually tweeted about it myself, saying, you know, how can you like one of the most diverse shows if you don't like that they stick behind a group of people that they represent in their show? Okay, and time for the final show that makes it into the honourable mentions list, and it is Doctor Who. Now, when I say Doctor Who, I specifically mean New Who. Unfortunately, I've never watched old era Who, but I absolutely love everything from Christopher Eccleston to Jodie Whittaker. I think it has been one of those shows that I picked up mid-teens maybe. That's when I think when it restarted, or early teens, and I've ran with it ever since. I absolutely love this show. I love when it's back on TV and every week we get to watch a new episode of Doctor Who. I love that the current season is really pushing the diversity and representation, and it's something that Doctor Who always has done. Like, the character of the Doctor is someone that, you know, loves all, tries to give everyone a chance. You know, it's only when they do something distinctively evil that's when the Doctor turns and says, no, I've got to deal with you. Apart from that, it's the kind of person that, you know, takes everyone for the value of who they are rather than what they are. And I think that's a really important lesson to learn. And to people that sort of get a bit annoyed with New Who, or with Jodie Whittaker's Who, I'm kind of like, you guys, I feel you've not really learned the lesson of what's going on. I don't know, that's just my interpretation of it. And I think that's something New Who needs to do going into series 14, or was it 13? Whichever one is coming out, because I can't remember anymore. It's just so many. That it needs to look at this diverse cast that it's got, and how can we now develop their stories? Because if there's one thing that's still sort of missing, it's the development of the companions in places. I'm talking particularly about Yaz. I love her as a character. I think Mandip Gill is great in the role, but we just need to develop Yaz as a character now, and we have all the opportunity to do it. The world, the audience, I think the majority want to see development of these characters, want to see these characters grow. They wish them well. So it's kind of up to the writers now to do that and to develop these characters further and really give them the representation they deserve. So my favourite episode of New Who, well, I suppose I should say who my favourite Doctor is first. That's probably the most important. It is actually for me Christopher Eccleston. I love the more ruggish, thuggy appearance of the Doctor. I think that's something that really works. I don't really quite like as much the more clean-cut version of the Doctor. I like that the Doctor looks like someone that kind of is a bit more hands-on, and I think Christopher Eccleston does that incredibly well. But then at the same time, he's really good at playing the humour as well. Even though I've heard that retrospectively he felt he could have been more humorous with it and less straight with it, but I mean, play to your strengths. That's the kind of actor that he is. He's a straight player, and it worked for his Doctor. I loved it. I think favourite episode is probably going to be one of the Tennant episodes, and I think it's either going to be Blink, or it'll be the 2 episodes at the end of season 4 with Davros and the Daleks and all of Doctor's companions coming together. I think those 2 episodes are absolutely breathtaking as well. And then overall favourite series, this is weird, I really jump around a lot with Doctor Who, but I think probably going to be Matt Smith's first season. Something really worked in there. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but something really kind of tightly gelled together with that series. It was a great introduction. Matt Smith, I think, no one really expected what he was going to do, so it meant that he blew everyone away with what he brought in. You know, he was sort of Tennant-esque, but not at the same time. He definitely brought his own imagination, his own craft to the role that definitely causes a distinction between him and Tennant. I'm actually also going to add to my favourite episodes the episode Rosa from Jodie Whittaker's first season, which obviously goes back to 1955 Montgomery and Rosa Parks not giving her seat up on the bus. I thought that season really handled the issues and the climate of that situation incredibly well, and the Doctor and her companions' involvement or lack of involvement in that situation I thought was really well handled in a sci-fi show. So those are the 3 shows that make my honourable mentions list here, and the countdown of my top 10 favourite shows of all time. If you've not seen any of the past shows, make sure you click this playlist right here. You'll be able to see all the shows that I have ranked, and you'll also be able to see my top 10 favourite films in there as well, which were from the days of my old channel, The Weekly Rant. But if you like what you see, you want to talk more diversity in film and TV, make sure you drop this video with a like. Let me know your thoughts on all these shows in the comment section down below, and make sure you subscribe to this channel, turning on your bell notifications, so you can be all caught up things diversity, film and TV, and be part of the discussion with me. Thank you very much. Hakuna MaChatter.